Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Your Football Show. Sorry for the late and a slight delay there coming live as well. I don't know what happened there. As you can see, there is just two of us at this moment in time. That is because Matt literally texted to say I was late at work and totally forgot and I'll be 5 minutes late. So when he comes in, make sure you hammer him for having such a poor memory. And Corey's having a few technical difficulties. So rather than wait and have you waiting there, I thought we'd jump straight into it. Me and Oscar can chat a little bit more in depth about Leeds United and the result at the weekend. But before we do that, let's just welcome in Oscar. Oscar, how are you doing, brother?
Great, mate. I mean, obviously, you getting that second goal for Norwich on Sunday has just made life so much easier for us. It's okay. Oh, mate, honestly, that was just unreal. I wasn't expecting that at all. Burnley's getting beat. Look, I know Everton winning was annoying, but full credit to us, by the way, in terms of the pressure it was on us. Obviously, with Everton winning, Newcastle winning as well. We had to win on Saturday and we did the job. It wasn't the prettiest, most lovely game of football to watch. And Watford, let's caveat it, Watford were terrible. I think Watford have got a decent chance to finish in bottom. I think there's a real decent chance they finish bottom. But yeah, I'm doing great, mate. Absolutely buzzing with that. Feel a lot more relaxed about the rest of the season now. I think 9 points is big. I know there's some games in hand, but I still think 9 points is pretty big. We're probably going to need a few more points, and then I think we are safe then.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, of course, mathematically, we do need some more points, but you know me anyway. I'm not very shy when it comes to making bold predictions. But I think, I think me and you, to be fair, have always said, we felt we'd have enough anyway, But
I think there's only really been. I think that week when we lost
Villa, wasn't it? Villa though as well.
Villa, right? Villa actually, yeah. But we did have a game within 3 days, which I think was good. By the way, we had a quick game afterwards. We didn't have like a week to stew on that one against Villa, and that would have been quite different. But yeah, I guess that week of the Liverpool and Tottenham game and the Aston Villa one, I started to panic a little bit. I was starting to panic a little bit. I still always thought we had a chance, but I think now and the whole season have been pretty consistent in the fact that I felt we're far from the 3 worst teams in this league. And I think I've got to say, if Cooper, Phillips have been available for the whole season, there's not a chance Leeds United will be anywhere near the relegation zone. Defensively, I don't think the defensive record would be anywhere near as bad as what it is. Look, clean sheet was massive on Sunday as well. On Saturday in that sense too. But yeah, I think Marsch deserves a lot of credit. I know there's this narrative on social media and that lot. We've had an easy run of games, but there's no easy run of games in the Premier League. I mean, we say people are saying Norwich is an easy game. Well, Burnley didn't beat them. Brighton didn't beat them the week before. There's no easy games at this level at all. We've had to go to Leicester, Wolves. Okay, we've not had to play any of the top 6 yet, and they're obviously going to be much more difficult games. But 10 points from 6 in the toughest league in the world is by any stretch for me. It doesn't matter if you played the bottom 6 in that spell; it's still very strong at this level. And I think
that's why as well, Oscar. After Southampton, I was quite frustrated on the drive home, where I was seeing people were annoyed that we hadn't won the game, and I was like, it was only 3 games ago we were getting battered left, right, and centre. We've now just, we were undefeated in 3, having won 2 and drawn 1. And I was like, what do people expect? I think for us now to be undefeated in 4, it's amazing for a team that was in free fall for a period of time. So you've got to be happy with that. And what we have to throw in as well, there's, like you've said, there's no easy games for sure. And people say, oh well, we've played easy teams and etc. Even the thing is, at this end of the season, the business end of the season, you get mad results anyway. You also get sometimes you can get free passes a little bit because some of the teams are on the beach. You'll find towards the back end. Some teams like Palace, for example, who were beat at the weekend, are worrying about playing in an FA Cup semi-final and don't want to get injured. We've got Man City to play, etc. They're fighting for the title. But I look at a team like Arsenal, who we play towards the back end. Where will their heads be at, having probably been out of the top 4 at that point and comfortably in 5th? I don't know. There's loads of different permutations between now and the next 6 games where some will be like, yeah, we've got no chance. And then we might find we play City squeezed in between 2 important Champions League games or something like that, where it's like, oh, he might have to rest. I don't know. It's just, there's loads of different permutations yet, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly that. This is the thing, really. You know, I know obviously Leicester were kind of been on the beach since the second half of the season, but these are still difficult games going to places like Leicester and Wolves and that lot. And I think what I've got to say is the performances have been good. I know Saturday was a different kind of game. I felt we deserved to win. That was the thing I will say. I still felt we deserved to win on Saturday. We've got to play a lot better than that in terms of the kick on, and I think we will play a lot better than that. I think the way Watford play doesn't really suit the way we want to play. You know, they're not going to play out the back, you know, like Southampton did, all the other teams kind of have done. They've sat back. They're not going to get as many chances to force counter-attacks and that lot. And the ones we did force, we did get a couple of counter-attacks going, we scored. So, yeah, look, and ultimately, you've got to look at the team as well. I think Rafinha is back heading towards top form. Rodrigo, I think, has been consistently superb. Click, I think, is playing his best football of the season. Yes, albeit there's a question mark. Will Click be the first choice midfielder? And look, that's something I'm going to say as well. We played Watford without KP, without Forshaw, which I think many would argue is probably our two best midfielders, certainly KP. So that's another argument there as well. Obviously, you've got to look at the fact we haven't had a transfer window yet. It's coming halfway through, not even halfway through a season, 3/4 of the way through a season. And he's totally changed the style. We're now zonal marking from being man-to-man marking for pretty much 4 years. So it's all little things you've got to consider along the way. And the fact that we had 6 defeats on the bounce as well, at a really bad stage, you get 6 defeats on the bounce too. So, look, I mean, it's all positive at this moment in time. I'm not getting too carried away. You know, there's still a case, I think a few people have said, is it a new manager bounce? Okay, it might be that. It might be a little bit of that. But I'm liking what I'm seeing early doors. I'm liking, it's different to Beelzebub. It might not be, I look at like the West Ham away game. I think that was our best performance of the season. That was unique to Bielsa, I think. I don't know if we'd see that under Marsch so much, but I still think in a different way, I think Marsch's football can be really, really good. I want to see us in a game against the top 6. I do feel like we might be better suited in those games, you know, than we were under Bielsa. I think we will. The zonal marking is a better bet than man-to-man for me. You know, certainly when you look at the City game, City will probably have Mahrez, Sterling, Foden in the front three. I'd much rather zonal mark than man mark him. You know, absolutely no doubt about that. So we'll wait and see.
I was actually listening to Sky Sports podcast earlier on, like the Gary Neville thing, and they were saying that like they were making out like this, you know, there's still a long way to go in the title race, and they actually spoke about the Leeds game being difficult for Man City. I was quite surprised, but then they made the point of like Jesse Marsch had been at Leipzig when City had beaten like 6-3, but that game could have easily gone either way. And I was thinking, oh wow, there might be a chance for us then in their big games. But before you answer, I'm just gonna, while we've been waiting, we've had loads of questions come in, so I've starred a few. So I just want to fire some of these at you, mate, and we'll have a chat about them while we wait for Matt and Corey to join us. But let's go to the comments. So Philip, that ain't much of a question, maybe. He just says smash the likes. I say, yeah, fair do that. Philip says, look, because the title of this video says Advantage City, and then I also put the bottom 3 and top 4 locked in. He wants Everton to get relegated. Do you think, just looking at it now, do you think the bottom 3 is done, bro? Potentially?
Norwich and Watford, yes. I think they're done. Yeah. To be fair to you, mate, you've said Norwich and Watford for a long time. I wasn't so sure on Watford, but I've been seeing them for a full 90 and not just kind of like a match of the day and the odd game here and there. Yeah. They are bad. It was even, I
felt as well, Oscar, like their decision making. There was a number of times they were in decent scenarios. I vaguely remember Emmanuel Dennis being in a situation. Yeah. There was João Pedro on the left, and instead he went to his right to like Sissoko, who had about 5 bodies around him, and then you had the chance for Sarr, whereas if he just places it, puts his foot round it, it finds the back of the net. He went for power, you know, it was 1-1, and I just think they're shot to shit kind of thing, you know. They're very punch drunk.
Defensively as well. I mean, some of the mistakes. Samir, I think, assisted 2 of the goals, to be fair for us. Certainly the second goal for Rodrigo. Yeah. Seeing a bit of Watford's reaction, not at all happy with him. I think they signed him in January, I think. So obviously the recruitment's not been great. Hassan, though, I'll say, looked a decent left back. I did like the look of him, to be fair. I like
the right back in terms, not so much of what he did, because I thought he should have got a yellow card, but He's Firmino. His deliveries from set pieces were pretty decent, weren't they? I made that point in my.
They've got some good players. I just think Hodgson, I think now is a little bit like Allardyce at West Brom last season. It's a bit of an old school approach they went for in terms of even Ranieri is saying I think maybe that squad needs someone who's going to be play a bit more on the front foot and get like the likes of Sarr, Dennis, and that lot into more positions. You know, where they're going to get more attacks off and play more on the front foot and commit more bodies forward. I think that's what Watford probably needed. But in terms of the relegation battle,
who's it? If you think Norwich and Watford are done, do we think that third spot is genuinely between us, Everton, and Burnley?
No, I think Everton and Burnley. I'm not. I think
we're all right. Yeah,
I'm not saying complete. If we lose 3 or 4 on the bounce, then yes, it's still going to be something to fight for. It just depends how they get on in between us playing Palace, because I think they've got to play 3 games.
This is the thing. Before yesterday, they had 4, so it actually transpires that when we next play Palace, we'll have a game in hand on Burnley.
Actually, yeah, that's right,
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Connor that said that. Actually, yeah, I remember reading that.
Yeah, it's true.
That can't be right. And then, so you don't know. You don't know. It could look very different, but I think Sean Dyche has shot himself in the foot, to be honest with you, with what he said about Everton in that post match. I think straight away that's got Everton's players, Lampard's backs up straight away. I don't really know why Sean Dyche did that after such a big win. But I'd never rule out Burnley, because I think Sean Dyche he finds a way every single time. I think their home form's key. I think away from home they've been Everton are the same, to be fair. Everton have been shocking away from home. So I think for both teams, home form's critical. I will say though that I saw bits of that Everton Man United game. It wasn't a convincing Everton performance, to be totally honest with you. I think it was two sides. Certainly Man United, they've given up, haven't they? Really, they've been on the beach for ages.
They're already thinking about this new manager coming in, aren't they? Whoever it is,
exactly,
or whoever, and thinking, we don't care what you're saying anymore, Ralph.
I mean, Ronaldo's head's totally gone. I mean, I don't know if you saw what he's doing after the game and that lot. I think any other player does that. I think straight away it's back page news and they're rightly getting punished for it. I think it's a free game. I think straight away it should be a free game ban. Free game ban for me on that one. Free game ban, big fine. But will it happen? Probably not, because it's Ronaldo, isn't it? But Everton weren't convincing. So Everton still think they've got to get a few more points, and it's far from guarantees yet. But they're being weird, Everton. I mean, I saw a crazy stat, that in terms of win percentage, Lampard, since he took over at Everton, has got a higher win percentage than Gerrard since he took over at Aston Villa. You're thinking, how can that be true?
Who was Lampard?
Yeah, genuinely true.
Wow.
It's I'm not sure if it's in all competitions or not, but I definitely saw something about that today and thinking surely not. But then it's crazy, isn't it? It's been a crazy season, but I think Everton are the favourites. So you look at the quality Everton have got too. I think surely Calvert-Lewin at some point is going to refine some kind of form. Richarlison as well. So I'd back Everton, but it'll still be tight.
Yeah, I love this. I've just received a message to say, I'm nearly there. My computer is slower than Dan Burn.
It's true. Look, Joe, I have to apologise. I ended up in work late. And look, you may have to thank me, because I don't think I've ever seen the numbers this high in the show, and I purely believe it's because I wasn't here. But look, it's been a while. I also want to address a comment. I think it was Nicholas Griffin said, "Oh, what a surprise, Matt showing up on the back of a victory." I'm not Locks. But also we have won 6 of our last 7 games, and I haven't been here for those either. So I think it's more, it's not quite related to that, but I'm happy to be back. Thank you very much for having me.
You are.
Very on the defensive, Matt, early doors here, I've got to say.
Look, I'm just preparing for the rest of the show.
Yeah, one of the members says, Joe, is Mike from the Blue Boys Network, the anti-Matt Hayes, because obviously we had Mike come on after the Burnley game and he was absolutely in bits. I don't know if any is much to catch that. I actually messaged him today to say, are you coming on tonight? And he never got back to me, so I don't know. Maybe he was, I don't know, maybe he's still pissed somewhere or something like that. I don't know. He must have been bouncing after that Manchester United result, but we'll get all to that very, very shortly. Me and Oscar were just chewing the fat over Leeds United while we were waiting for our other 2 regulars to turn up. Corey, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You okay? Yeah, result-wise, not so much, but
no, personally I'm great. I had a day off on Friday. Like, I had a break for quite a while, so I'm feeling all right. But yeah, yesterday was a little bit sour, if I'm honest. But you know, you lot have got the win. Tottenham have got the win, so Lots of positivity, just not from me tonight, unfortunately.
And Matt, man, you must be bouncing, brother. To be a Spurs fan right now, it must be lovely for you, mate.
Yeah, look, it's a lot better than it was. I saw a picture of the table 4 games ago when we were sat down in 8th and we were 6 points behind Arsenal. And I think you made the point earlier in the season, Joe, when Leeds won a couple of games and it looked like you were on the up. And you made the point that it's crazy how quickly those things can turn around. But that means it's exactly the same likelihood or exactly the same possibility that in the next 4 games it can flip and we'll be back down in 8th place. And nothing has prepared me better for this moment than being a Spurs fan in previous seasons. And I can't bring myself to expect us to finish in the top 4. I think right now it's in our hands. We're the favourites for it.
Yeah.
But look, we've got some tough games left. We still have to go to Anfield. We have to play Brighton, who aren't having a great season, but they just won at the Emirates on Saturday. They can come to our stadium and beat us. Still have to play Leicester, who on their day as well can beat anyone. So I'm not accepting that we're in the Champions League. I haven't. I'm not in any way saying it's going to be us, but it's in our hands and it's the best opportunity we've had probably since the year we got to the final to actually get back in there. And I obviously hope we don't mess it up, but look, we're Spurs. Anything can happen.
You'll be right, man. You'll be right. I'm sure of it. I did star a load of the comments, but I feel that I'm just going to get to them anyway. So Anthony Johnson said, I don't know why I'm reimbursing you for £1, mate, but yeah, if you need £1, see me at the game. I'll chuck you £1. I don't know what I'm reimbursing you for though, mate, to be fair. Louis says, Joe, you're no longer Marsch out. I was never Marsch out. That's not a thing that we're ever going to be doing. Like, I think I'd get absolutely battered, but if I turned up, it's never going to get to a stage where we're like, can you imagine being like I'm thinking about other content creators that actually can create a movement like Wenger out. Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine me and Oscar at Ellen Road like going, it's Marsch out, getting the banners out and that? We'd be absolutely hounded out of Ellen Road, so don't worry. But yeah, I was never Marsch out anyway, mate. It's just hard, to move on from a guy like Bielsa. We have to. I mean, the Leeds fan. Sorry, I've missed it today, but I just dipped into Twitter. And they're all arguing with one another at the minute over, it seems, Bielsa, Marsch, and it just seems like it's absolutely pandemonium at the minute. So, yeah, I'm glad I'm private and I don't dip my toe in them waters anymore, to be fair. We've got Simp777 said, Leeds lad in USA, appreciate all you do. Connor, KG, Brownie, Lewis, all great lads. And, of course, Oscar, Corey, and Matty means there as well, I'm sure, of course.
I can see that. I don't know where he's got that from.
But right, okay, let's talk some more footy. Because obviously me and Oscar were chatting about Leeds. You've seen the result, Corey, 3-0 up, away from home against the poor Watford side. The game was poor anyway, but we won 3-0. That's all you can ask for. Do you think that's Leeds United safe now, Corey?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think Burnley almost had it in their hands a little bit with that Norwich game and them losing and Everton winning and yourselves winning. I just think it's too... I know it's different when you're down there because it's almost like you just want to be certain. You just want to get that another 3 points and you can just bank it. But I can't see any of those bottom 3 teams getting out of it, to be honest. Like the level of quality from them is just... It's just not there. And you got to give credit to Marsch as well. The fact that he's come in, he's G'd them up a little bit. I mean, and again, I didn't watch the full game, so I can't, comment on how far Leeds are developing. But when you got players like Rafinha that can finish like he can, like Jack Harrison can, and that's the most important thing. I think if you're a Leeds fan, the season hasn't been great, but ultimately you've got the result at the important time. So yeah, I think you're more than safe, mate. If anyone's going to get dragged in, it's Everton, and I didn't expect Fat Frank to beat Man United at all. So I even think they're all right, to be honest. They're shaky, but I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I think Anthony just says, cheer up, Corey. You've still got a chance of European silverware, mate. It's not all...
Yeah, I know, yeah. I'm sour grapes, mate. We'll talk about it later. Don't worry. We'll talk about it later. We will. Matt, thoughts on Leeds United and their relegation survival push? Is it done now, do you think?
Yeah, I think it is. Look, I've said it all season. I never saw Leeds going down, whether that was with Bielsa or someone else. I think there's too much quality in that squad, and I know it changes things when you have players like Patrick Bamford out for so long. You had bad injuries. It was in Phillips and Click were out for a while as well. It's kind of the spine and the core of that team. It's going to affect you, whoever you are. But I always felt there was enough quality in that Leeds team, and I'm glad now you've managed to steer yourselves away from that relegation zone. It's 7 points clear. I mean, look, Burnley do have 2 games in hand. And as we've
nine.
seen.
I think it's 9, bro. We're 9 points.
9 points, even better.
Yeah.
But look, like we've seen with Burnley, they can go out and beat anyone. They beat us a couple of weeks ago. It's probably just before the start of our good form, but it's still a good achievement. But yeah, I think there's not enough quality below you to catch up to the amount of points you're on. I feel like it's just another sign that magical 40-point mark that we speak about for so long is you don't need that much anymore. It's around 34, 35 to stay safe, and you're 33 now. So yeah. I think it's just a matter of getting those last couple of points now.
Yeah, I was actually listening to something earlier on my way to work, and it turns out the average is 35.7. 35.7 over the last so many seasons. So we're not that far away from that. But yeah, I quite like this, Oscar. Just Fulham might catch us still. Yeah, don't get carried away. This is just funny with Leeds fans because there was a running theme over social media like last season that Fulham were going to catch us, and there was like 8 teams between us and Fulham, and I was just like, that's never going to happen. But ever the pessimists,
But it's similar to last season, isn't it? I think Newcastle were in a similar situation to Everton, and we all thought it was going to go down to like the last day and be really tight, and then a couple of results go one way or the other, and you think, all of a sudden it's not that tight at all. Watford and Norwich seem pretty much down, and then Burnley, they got to win, in the next couple of games, or at least one of them, and that's a tall order for Burnley because they can't score goals. So yeah, it's weird. It's not.
What about that sitter that Maxwell Cornet missed as well?
Yeah, he's got
I did a watch along. I couldn't believe he missed that. I was like, no.
You wouldn't have missed that, and he didn't miss it for the second goal.
Yeah, Timu Pookie turned up, didn't he? I was that like I looked at. I thought I'll have to actually trim my hair because when I leave it a little bit long, that's when I start to look like Timu. So this morning I went get the clippers back out. Let's talk top four. Let's talk top four. Both sides involved or were. One was and one. One's riding. Before we do, Luke. Lads. I said Luke because it's Luke's comment. I've not actually spoken about this. Everyone keeps asking me about this, and I've never spoke about it because I've never felt the need to because I don't feel like it's something that'll ever happen. But I know Matt has his ear quite close to the ground. So for Leeds fans that are asking, Matt, is there anything in this at all?
I personally don't think so. Look, he's a good player and obviously scored a great goal at the weekend. And if Spurs got him, I wouldn't be upset with that. But I think especially if we are getting in the Champions League, and again, with all due respect to someone who is a very talented player, ultimately, if we're getting in a left-sided winger, it's going to have to be someone who can not compete with Son, but rotate with Son. And I don't think when Son is such an important part of our team that we can have that drop off in quality if we are going to bring someone in. In terms of how likely it is, I haven't really seen it from too many reliable sources. So no, exactly, I think it's one that we'll wait and see wait to see who it comes out from in the coming days and the coming weeks. So I haven't heard anything about it. I think it wasn't Mike McGrath, the Telegraph, who he can be spot on or he could be completely wide of the mark depending on what it is. And look, we won't know until the end. But I wouldn't be surprised if Spurs are looking for a player in that position. But to be honest, I can't see this happening.
I don't think the drop off's that big.
Right. It's been a pleasure, lads.
I'm joking. But yeah, talk to me about Spurs and that unreal front three that's just like, Kulusevski looks some by, doesn't he now, mate? To be honest, when I was putting in your channel stuff in the description earlier on, your pinned video, as I was like sorting out, I heard you speaking about him in my ear, and he's been quite the signing, hasn't he?
He's been absolutely immense. Ultimately signing him was in some regard a disappointment because we were expecting to get Luis Diaz instead. And look, people are going to disagree with me in this one. I think in terms of the impact Diaz has had on Liverpool and Kulusevski's had on us, I think we've made the right signing. I think we've made the better signing, which look, it could change in the future, but for what we've seen so far this season, look, that Tottenham front three has changed quite a bit over the last couple of years, over the last maybe 3-4 years since Alli and Eriksen's kind of started fading away in their quality, and we've never really found someone who could be a mainstay in that team. Gareth Bale did quite well there for a bit last season. It was Lucas this season. We Bergwijn in there at times, and I think ultimately what we've been looking for is a player that we can keep up there consistently with Kane and Son, because that telepathic link that Kane and Son have, if we can add a third player into that brings us to a whole new level and a whole new dynamic. And Kulusevski has the technical ability to do that. He already seems to have the understanding with Kane and Son to do that, but he also has a knack that I think the other two lack, and that's knowing the right time to just stop and to slow things down. You know, because I think under Jose Mourinho, because we were so reliant on getting these goals on the counter-attack, whenever we had a chance, it was directly for the opposition goal. And I feel we kind of missed chances in games because we were trying to be too direct and we were trying to force the opportunities. Whereas Kulusevski seems to have that ability and that knowledge to know when he needs to slow things down. And I mean, that fourth goal at the weekend, the hat-trick goal for Son, when Kulusevski gets down that line and Mings is coming across, it's really easy for him to just fire that across the face of goal and to maybe hope for a touch from a defender or hope Kane is getting in at the back post. But he knew exactly where someone's going to be, and he just delayed it for 2 or 3 seconds, let someone get into position, and it's a brilliant assist. And he's been, along with Bentancur, the reason that we're fighting for top 4 now. You know, I've never known Tottenham to make one signing that has had the impact that he's had straight away. But that's 3 this season now when you add Romero into the mix as well, who've had an immediate impact and immediately improved this football club. And Kulusevski, he's a lot younger than people realise. He's only a month older than Phil Foden, which I think because of the experience he has and the fact he's played at such a high level with Juventus, it is easier to forget that. But yeah.
Sorry, Matt. Sorry. Just to, it's so funny. I was on mute because my son's having a mad one next door. But you've just said that, and I read this comment earlier where John went, you know, he's only 1 month older than Foden. Spurs fans don't really mention it. And then you just said, like 2 minutes later, do you know he's only a month older than Foden?
John, I saw it on Twitter today where we're starting to mention it now.
Okay.
But yeah, no, he's been a great signing for sure. And
I'll tell you something about if Man City had your front 3 yesterday, they'd have won 6-3. No, 6-2 they'd have won yesterday. If you had your front 3 yesterday, I think your front 3 now can push you for a title. I mean, it's the rest of the team is all you need to improve. I think obviously you need a bit of depth, but the thing with Diaz as well is that Diaz plays on the left. He's not a right winger. In terms of balance, that's the big thing. I think Diaz is a better player than Kulusevski, to be totally honest with you. But in terms of what you need, the balance for your whole team, it's a Colombian town, could be.
I have to laugh. I was laughing, Oscar, because I know Oscar, man. Oscar makes some crazy claims at times. And as you went, it's title with it. I just seen Corey go like this.
No, but you know what? I just heard it, and then I heard the
output to win a title.
No, granted. No, when you explained it, I was like, okay, fair enough. It's just I heard it, and I heard it with Tottenham, and I was like, what? I was like, how? But yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
They're not pushing for a title with Eric Dyer and Højbjerg in midfield. They still need to massively upgrade in that area, but see how much they back Conte, I guess.
And
Kulusevski's inspired. It genuinely is. I think for me, Diaz is the better player, but how Kulusevski has been able to adapt to that team and the impact that he's had, there's no denying in terms of a January impact sign. He's the guy. And Matt mentioned it. I think you speaking about him putting Mings on his backside, I actually think the way that he starts the move, how composed he is, he's not just a player that works hard off the ball, but his composure, ability to pick a pass. And I think Tottenham fans will tell you that the balance and Tottenham not being a team that is literally Kane and Son. I think just having a front 3 where you have movement off that, teams find it really, really difficult now. And Tottenham aren't predictable. So, it pains me to say, but he's a very, very good player. And I can't remember who mentioned it, but someone was talking about his finishing. And his finish in that game was very, very good as well. So he's quite, I wouldn't say he's complete, but in terms of attributes you need to succeed in the Premier League, he seems to have a lot. And I think his match with Conte is in particular really impressive. So, yeah, gutted.
That Saka take is still a bit dodgy, though, Matt. I'm not going to lie. He's not better than Saka. I'm still not giving you that one quite.
We all have our opinions, Oscar, and you're entitled to that. But when your opinion is wrong, I'm going to let you know. And look, I will actually say. People always talk about Martinelli being this incredible prospect for the future. Kulusevski made his first Premier League start on the 19th of February, and he already has more goals and more assists than Martinelli this season.
I've got him started already. I've got him going already.
It was bound to happen, and I was thinking about trying to keep myself calm here, but that's not going to happen, especially when you're around Oscar. So look, we might as well get started early.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. I have to keep muting my son's. I don't know what's going on, but he's not happy. He's not a happy bunny, right? So
he's listening to
us. Do we think that's top 4 sorted now?
Probably
no.
Really?
I think it's.
I know, but I feel like I've been banging this drum for quite a while about the Conte effect, and I just don't know if I just look at Arsenal and I just feel that it's a very young team, and it has struggled significantly in the last 2 games. And I just don't know whether with Arsenal's fixtures coming up, and I think Spurs' fixtures are more favourable. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like that Tottenham team. There was a period in that first half where, let's be honest, you were so far under the cosh. I was like, I've got no idea how on earth they've not conceded here. But they just got that horrible knack of getting 4 goals with 1 expected goal. So I can just see it. I genuinely just can see it.
I think the one reason there's many reasons why I'm not fully buying into it, but I've been saying with Spurs in terms of getting to where we are right now, when you're in a top 4 race, when it's essentially...
I'm not going to lie, that's made my night. It beats Timu Pukki. I might start smashing cans and that. Sorry, Matt.
That's all right. When you're in a top 4 race, it is essentially which team is going to bottle it the least, because that's the way we've been for so long. It's going to be a case of momentum. Who gets over the line, who at the end of the season. And for Tottenham, we've either got that momentum at the exact right time, or we've got it just a little bit too early. Because if we start to fade away towards the end of the season and Arsenal pick up a couple of wins, that they could creep into it at the end of the season. And the problem that we've had in the last couple of years has been that consistency. And exactly what you mentioned there, that knack of getting 4 goals at 1 XG. We were doing that last season under Jose. We went to Old Trafford and we scored 6, and the next week we scored 5 at St. Mary's. Then we went 3-0 up against Yi, and then things fell apart. And he got back into that game. Then all of a sudden, we continued playing that same way, where we were creating chances on the counter and just trying to defend with absolutely everything. We lost that knack to score, and then all of a sudden we were drawing all our games 1-1. And that fear is still there, because Villa beat us like 2 expected goals. You're not going to win every game like that. And you know what, Justin? If Leeds beat Arsenal for us, I will get a jersey and I'll come on here for the last before the whistle or Premier League preview at the end of the season with a Leeds jersey on, if you can beat them for us, and that is a promise.
Oh, wow. What I'll say is, though, I think Arsenal, and again, Matt will disagree with me on this, I think Arsenal probably got the more complete team in terms of across the pitch, but they just haven't got a Kane and Son. Simple as that. They haven't got a Kane and Son that can just do what they did against Aston Villa. Just go bang,
just
bang.
on the wind up there, He's going to start again here.
No, I'm not on the wind-up. I just think it's a more Arsenal's team, but Arsenal have got no depth. They've got Tomiyasu out, Tierney out, both fullbacks, Partey out. So they're in trouble, Arsenal. There's no doubt about that. I mean, Lacazette, I think I read somewhere, has got 2 open play goals since October, I think I've read. He's played every game. He's their main centre forward. He's getting chance after chance after chance. Doesn't matter about expected goals. If your striker can't put the ball in the back of the net, that's the reality. But they haven't got a Kane or Son. That's the simple fact. And Tottenham don't need to play well to win games. We've seen it. We've seen it to an extent against Aston Villa. So I think Tottenham are favourites, but I wouldn't totally rule Arsenal out. I still think Saka and Martinelli can still conjure something up. Ødegaard, Smith Rowe, again, I rate a lot. And I think defensively, I still think Arsenal, Ben White and Gabriel, I think will come good again. I think they've had a really, really bad last 2 games.
The timing of that is so perfect.
After your start.
I love a gal. I do love a gal. But if I knew about that gal video before I said Arsenal finish above Tottenham, I would have never said that. That was it after that video. I'm so sorry to a gal, but that was it for Arsenal. As soon as he did that video, it was I love a gal though.
Yeah, a gal. The video, the dancing one, wasn't it? Oh,
that was it.
And then there was. Where are you, Spurs fans?
That's what did it. Where are you, Tottenham? That's oh no, a gal.
Can we talk about Arsenal then? Because I'm an admirer of them. I don't mind them. I like a lot of their players, and I feel a little bit for them. I feel like because I've not sampled any of the content creators or any of the fan base, but I have a lurking notion that they'll all be calling for Arteta's head if they don't get top 4. Quite a lot of them, I think. I can see it from an outsider's perspective, obviously, because I'm not an Arsenal fan. But I'm a bit like, it's a bit harsh. I was listening to a podcast actually earlier, and they were talking to, he was a news, I don't know who he was, but basically he was saying how, if you'd have said at the start of the season, Arsenal 5th, they'd have probably been happy, European football. But, with him being so close to top 4, if he misses out, calls and that. And I'm like, really, man? The guy's won an FA Cup. I know it didn't go great after that, but he's had to deal with managing the squad. He's bringing through young players. And I think what's happened to Arsenal is, I know they've got injuries as well, but when the pressure's been on, they still should have beat Palace. They still should have beat Brighton. But ultimately, it's about experience. It's about experience and being in them situations, knowing we have to win this now. And they've buckled, and sometimes you need that, and they'll come on for it. And Arteta's took them
up. Under Bielsa, after that first Bielsa season, we came on when we finished second part of the next season.
And I said Oscar as well. I remember saying it to Connor all the time about Brentford. I said, you can't go from never being in the top 6 to just suddenly getting promoted. They then got to the final. They lost. Next season, boom, straight up. Experience counts for so much, and I think Arsenal have been a little bit of a victim of that, coupled with injuries. But I mean, Corey, just I guess you'll know you're a bit more closer to the ground with Arsenal fans. Has there been a change? Are people saying top 4 game over? What's the crack?
I don't know about the top 4 shout. I think they think that it may have gone away from them. I think they just look at some of their fixtures, and I think that the performances, and we've mentioned about squad depth, obviously Lacazette's lack of goals, albeit he has contributed otherwise. I think the fullbacks are a really, really big problem. I think that back 4, that solidity and that consistency has gone a little bit. On the Arteta point, I actually think that I've got to try and switch on a little bit, because sometimes I find myself being a bit too negative towards Arsenal and look at it for what it is. I do think they've improved. I do. And I think it was more the decision in January not to bring players in when they needed it. And I think it goes either way. Arsenal have been able to improve this season because they have only played 1 game a week. That's helped them massively. But long term, I think even if they do just get in the Europa League, let's say, they do need more options. They really do. You look at the first 11 when fully fit, I think it's a good team. It's really well balanced. I think Arteta, in terms of his ideas, is there. There's a few outliers. I think Xhaka should really go out. There should be another number 8 or 6. But you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think the thing with me is when I've watched Arsenal for probably a year and a half, I thought, I don't see what they're doing. But now I can see what they're doing. I think he earned the right, really. And you look at the quality of teams in and around him. I think, like we said, Oscar said, Tottenham's front 3 is at times world class. Some of them play. Harry Kane's in ridiculous form. And Arsenal can't compete with that with where they're at. They are building across the pitch. So I think you've got to give them a little bit of leeway. The reason why it doesn't wash with Arsenal is because Arsenal have been so long out of that top 4. Yeah. For a club of their stature, it's not good. It still isn't good in terms of expectation. But I think just in terms of progression, they do need to just give him a little bit more time and investment. I think that's the biggest thing. If that board don't back him, then you're going to see the same issues. It happens with every single club. So
yeah. No,
he just needs a striker. The thing is, he could have papered over a lot of them cracks in the Palace and Brighton games. They had chances at 1-0 down, Arsenal, and I think we talk about game state at the odd time, but that was a key thing. As soon as they missed those chances, Palace got the other end, 2-0, it's game over. Because outside the Saka and Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Ødegaard, I just don't feel like they have that 20, 25 goal a season, man. And I think all the teams around them do, and that's a simple fact. But I think just to further on that experience bit, I think people always look at experience as a negative thing. If you bottle it, then you're going to bottle it every single time, next time you're in that position. But it's not always the case. I think teams do learn from things. Look at Bukayo Saka. I mean, the way he's bounced back from that Euros, it shows how mentally strong he is. Martinelli's bounced back from some injuries. They've got... Come on, man. Come on. But yeah, I think they've got tough players. I think they've got some players who, a lot of Party's got a lot of experience at that kind of level. Xhaka as well. They've just got to recruit well in summer, get some depth in. I think Darwin Núñez, I think Steve mentioned in the comments, seeing what he did against Liverpool, I think he'd be a really, really smart signing for Arsenal. They just need someone, Tammy Abraham, someone like that. They're not going to get in Harvey.
Tammy's the one, isn't it? Tammy, I remember suggesting Tammy. Do you remember Oscar Leeds? Was it?
Yeah, exactly.
And we got hammered for it.
I think he's a really good player, Tammy. He's going to be the backup striker for England. He's going to play. He's going to come off the bench a couple of times for England at the World Cup. So I think he's a decent option. They're not going to get Haaland, not going to get an Mbappe. They're nowhere
Are they
near
not
that
getting
level.
DCL? I know I keep mentioning it, and I know he's had the shocker, but do you not see that as being happening at all? Am I talking rubbish? Because I've seen reports that he's moving down south and all sorts. He's already like selling up his house and that. So where's he going down south for? Maybe he's rocking up at the Hammers. I don't know.
Well, there you go then. Moyes has got an eye on him. I've heard that Arsenal have called it a little bit on DCL. I don't know how much I think just as a player, I can understand why they like him. Maybe you're looking at dominating the ball and creating chances, and within the box, he's shown it at Everton. But probably better fit for us, if I'm honest. I think you're going to need a player that can link the play a little bit more, and is a clinical finisher. And I think the only thing with DCL, whilst he does work hard off the ball, sometimes you argue his injury record. Is he clinical consistently? It's not really there. So I don't think Arteta will go there. It's a lot of money they're asking for DCL, by the way. It's 50 mil? You've got to be sure on a player when you've got 50 mil kicking around. You can't just, and if he gets injured for half the season, it's a pointless signing.
50 mil?
Swear, honestly.
Wow.
Might be less if they get relegated, but
he's a good player. He's a good player, Calvert-Lewin, but he's not for me. He's not a starter for a top 6 team.
He's only had one barnstormer as well, hasn't he? Really, under
he was good last season, but I just look at Abraham or Nunes or someone like that. I think it just feels a bit of a sure thing, Just feels a bit more sure
Jonathan
thing.
David, I don't know what he's doing, but we were linked with him before, weren't we?
And Lille, he's doing well too, I think. And Kunku's been linked as well, I think, from Leipzig. Again, Jesse Marsch, someone that Jesse Marsch developed, I will just add. But yeah, no, it'd be interesting what they do. They are going to get a striker. There's no way they're going to start next season with Lacazette, to be totally honest with you. So that was what I was laughing at before. My son put more like lack of threat. But yeah.
If you're there, please drop me a message. Let's get you here.
Let's get him in.
Let's get White Sox to see some moves.
I will just say, I like what Arsenal are doing, to be fair. I like what they're doing. In terms of Ramsdale, Ben White, Smith Rowe, Saka, I really like what their project is, and I hope it doesn't fall on its face from a point of view that I quite like the fact that they're not just spending 70, 80 million on one player. They're trying to develop players, play a progressive style of football.
What about Ollie Watkins? Shout, maybe, no?
Ollie Watkins?
Need more.
Yeah, need more than that.
Yeah, fair. Matt, you've been sat there quietly. How's it been for you seeing the demise of Arsenal?
It's been one of the most beautiful things I've ever witnessed, Joe. It's been perfect. And look, it's unfortunate the way it's happened for them. I'm not going to deny that. It's never nice seeing any sort of players get injured, and for Tierney to be out for the season and Partey to get another bad injury, it's not nice to see. That doesn't mean I'm going to enjoy the consequences of it for them. I think it just goes to show the lack of depth in that squad. And I said it after the Crystal Palace game. The Palace were insane in that first half. Like, they were absolutely immense and would have given Manchester City and Liverpool a run for the money with the way they played there. But after that game, if I were an Arsenal fan, I would have been more concerned about that second half, because they were the better team in the second half, and they dominated and should have scored, but they still lost that second half by 1-0. And I think that kind of gives you a more of an insight into what kind of form they're in and the way the rest of the season might go, rather than the first half when they were just outplayed by a team that were probably the best half they're going to play all season. They needed to bounce back from that, and they didn't. And to lose to a Brighton side who've been, so poor this season compared to what they could have been, that's obviously not great for them. But just going back to one of the points Oscar made, this is going to start now, about the Arsenal team kind of being more balanced and more well-rounded. I think if you're going to take individual players and look at the quality of them, at the back especially, aside from Romero and White, those players like Davis would not get into that Arsenal team. Dyer probably wouldn't get into that Arsenal team. But what I would say is Conte is making these players the perfect player for our team. He's come into this team. He's chopped and changed that starting lineup quite a bit at the start, but he's managed to find the perfect positions and the perfect strengths to play to in each of those 11 players in that team.
Yes, Matt, but sure. Just say, we've got to remember, was it 4 weeks ago, you can see the three at Old Trafford. You have still been conceding quite a lot of goals. I know what you're saying, and I think I said to you in the chat, there's no better manager in the world at that top level at making teams competitive just with a three at the back. Doesn't matter. Look, he won a title with Victor Moses at wing back, David Luiz at centre back, and Marcos Alonso at wing back. So he knows how to do it. But I just think, I look at the league now, I think it's higher quality. I think you didn't have a Liverpool and City around then. It was, absolutely. Yeah. I'm not saying his Chelsea team wasn't very good. It was. But I think you just need a bit more than that now. I think you need someone as well as Romero. Maybe you can get away with Dyer in between Romero and another world-class defender. If it's Skriniar from Inter Milan, if he brings him back, or Bastoni, I think we've mentioned before as well.
Yeah,
I
we're
think
linked to him as well.
They definitely need someone else on that wing, on the right wing back slot, because Emerson Royal is just not going to cut it, to be totally honest with you. I've seen him play for Barcelona. He was nowhere near it then. I think he's been even worse at Tottenham, to be honest, and he's just not good enough for that level. He's got the athleticism to get up and down the pitch, fair play to him, but you need better there, I think.
Yeah, and look, the point with the left centre back is spot on. We've been linked with Bastoni, Josko Gvardiol from Leipzig, Nico Schlotterbeck from Freiburg, and Sven Botman, who's probably off to AC Milan. I mean, all those 4 players are the exact type of player that we need in that position. I mean, obviously, I trust Conte and Paratici to identify that. It's such a massive blow for us. And if you told me 4 weeks ago that I'd be saying this, I would have been really concerned for my health. Losing Matt Doherty for the rest of the season is a huge blow. It's a huge blow. He's been incredible for us. They put up a stat in Sky Sports, and he's had the same amount of goal contributions in the Premier League as Salah since February. He's been absolutely on fire. But yeah, look, Conte's getting the best out of that team. And back to the point of Arsenal, I don't think Arteta is doing that with some of the players in that team. And look, it's always going to be difficult when you have the basis of that team, not to the same extent as Spurs, but I still think they rely heavily on those front players to get them through games when they may not be the best defensively. They may not win that midfield battle. They have players up there that can change a game, like Saka, like Martinelli, like Smith Rowe, like Odegaard. I think they do rely on them to some extent as well. But the fear there for Arsenal is that they're 4 incredibly young players. They're 4 incredibly inexperienced players. And when it gets to this stage, when it gets to the pressure, as good as they are, they may not have the experience of a Son and of a Kane to be able to get through that period. And look, it's probably in the long run going to be better for Arsenal than it is for us, because you see also players like Troy Parrott, who's doing really well at MK Dons at the moment. You've Dane Scarlett, another young player who's not really getting in that first team. Arsenal have players in that position who they're getting in that first team. So 5-6 years down the line, if we're in a similar situation, we may be saying the experience of Saka, the experience of Smith Rowe, if they're still there, could be what carries Arsenal over the line. But I think for now, they've maybe been a victim of their own success and ultimately could be the reason for the downfall. But that's not a criticism of them. It's, if anything, a compliment of how effective they've been to that Arsenal team.
Very complimentary.
I'm honest. I regret it, but I'm honest. Yeah,
is
Oh,
it
music.
You're giving it.
Damn, I was just saying. Igal came in, and then all of a sudden Matt started going, "Yeah, I really like Arsenal. Yeah."
I was saying that before he was here. I was being honest. I'll tell Igal exactly what I think of Arsenal. Christian right for a start.
The video, man. Where are you at, Tottenham? What's that all about, mate?
Listen, you know what it is? They take one little video, because I'm on a stream every single time after every game. So you're gonna get the odd occasion where people come out and say something crazy. And if you keep playing the same one clip from December with no context, it looks crazy.
Fair enough. I didn't know it was December. The way Matt put it in the group chat, and I was thinking he put that out like last week or something.
I'd seen it on Twitter, so I had to. I'll be honest, again, if we get
top
top 4, we put it everywhere.
If you have seen Twitter, there's videos of me dancing. There's videos of people. There's videos of people doing. There's videos of people taking my TikToks of me laughing at other scenarios and putting the score behind me, and it's basically me laughing at my own team. And I don't know how they do it, but it's crazy. But yeah, big up Sean. Sean's a regular on my channel. But I'll tell you this: Arsenal are no longer have the advantage for top 4. Arsenal no longer are in the driving seat. We absolutely bottled the last 2 games and conceded our advantage to Tottenham. They're running. They have Son and Kane firing. If you guys don't know, since 2016, they're more clinical than Messi. That's an actual stat. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do when you have these guys? But yeah, as you guys can see, I'm literally about to go head off to the mosque. So I can stick around for like another 10, 20 minutes, but I gotta go after that. But I'll tell you this: Arsenal we're not. A lot of fans are blaming all of this on Arteta, and everything Arteta out is back again. So they were quiet for a couple.
Is
months.
that what's happening, Igal? I thought it would be.
Yeah, so Arteta out's back again. Everyone's going crazy. Edu is getting rinsed because he didn't sign anyone in January. Today, I have been leading the brigade that we should go and sign Ivan Toney as a replacement for Lacazette. And people are really pissed off at me for lowering the standards and saying, how dare you go for Ivan Toney? There's higher quality players. But I'm of the ilk of saying, you know what, let's be realistic. Let's actually go for somebody that is Premier League proven, that can improve us. Just similar to how everyone sticks up their nose at Bowen at the beginning of the season when Liverpool were linked to him. And look at what he's doing now.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about again.
United fans saying what do you call it? Declan Rice wouldn't improve their team. Like, some people just look at Premier League players and they sniff their nose at them. And it just disgusts me. But yeah, enough about Lacazette. Lacazette needs to go, but he's not going to be benched. Arteta's not going to bench him. Arteta's not going to take him out of the side.
Who's going to play though? Nketiah?
Martinelli
up front. Simple.
Martinelli, guys, he's a target man. He doesn't link up play. He doesn't do all that stuff. He has ability of a target man. Lacazette, you know what we do? We hoof the ball up front. It doesn't go to anybody because Lacazette's not there. He doesn't give us any focal point. So maybe put Martinelli up top. But yeah, we have a central defensive midfielder as a striker right now. That's what Lacazette is. Like, he's not a striker. He literally is playing like a DM. That's how far he drops at times. But yeah, I'll bore you guys with all the Arsenal stuff. I'll just tell you the mood around Arsenal a couple of weeks ago was top four was done. It's ours. Now the mood is that it's over. And I just don't like the reactionary moments of Arsenal fans and just fans in general. We need to understand that it's not over, but Tottenham definitely are in the advantage. And you won't be hearing me coming out with chest saying it's done or anything like that ever again this season, because we literally ruined our chances.
Would you be happy with Europa League though, bro, considering you've had no European football this season?
You want to know something? I don't want to finish 7th or 8th. I wouldn't mind finishing. I wouldn't mind finishing 6th or 5th. But I think if you finish 6th, we have to have questions about Arteta. How do we drop off to the point where Manchester United or somebody else overtakes us from this point that we were in?
You won't finish that low. No chance you'll finish below Man United.
Yeah,
and if we finish 5th, there's going to be a large portion of the fan base that will say sack Arteta. But I am of the if we sack him,
insane, man.
No, but my thing is, if we sack him today, based on what he's done, 2 back-to-back 8ths and finishing 5th, and you're saying there's no improvement, and you're upset about that, and we have a manager lined up like a Ten Hag or somebody reasonable that we can bring in, then fine. But I don't think at this moment in time, if we sack Arteta, it is the best decision, in my opinion. But a lot of people would say the opposite. Only reason why I say you don't sack him because there's already a plan that we started in January to get rid of people, and then in order to clear the decks for this summer. So why then cut the man who's going to
why you don't sack him? Because he's doing a good job.
You know what? For a lot of people would say in my fan base.
But you know what you said? We have to be realistic. Arsenal fans are not there anymore. Just like Man United fans, I think they still can't accept that fact.
You've got to look at the start of the season.
People call me toxically positive because I'm saying you shouldn't sack him.
Yes, you sound like me, bro. You're like me. That's how I get hammered for being too positive.
But Gal, start of the season, you look at Arsenal's team. I mean, starting 11, even the starting 11, a lot of people didn't consider good enough. He's made some big calls signing-wise. Him and Adu, to be fair, in terms of bringing in Ramsdale, bringing in Ben White. Again, I thought the Ben White one was a lot more of a sure thing than what people said. Tomiyasu, all these signings have been good. All these signings have unquestionably, even bringing back Odegaard on the permanent, you're thinking, they're being good signings. The promising signings are going to develop. And if he wants Ivan Toney, on the basis of how much he's improved Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, people like that, let him have Ivan Toney. If Arsenal had Ivan Toney instead of Lacazette up front this season, the top four would be done. They would be in the top four ahead of Tottenham. For me, I think he'd just give them enough goals. He'd easily get 10, 15 goals at least in that Arsenal team, a lot more than Lacazette. And simple as that, I think you would be in that top four pretty comfortably now, because performance-wise, I think you're playing really well. Last couple of games have been poor, but I think over the season, you've been one of the better one of the best footballing sides, to be totally honest with you. Not on the level of Man City or Liverpool, but I think you play better football than Chelsea, to be honest.
I don't know if you guys have this in your fan bases, but literally 2 losses on the bounce makes everyone lose their absolute mind. And we now have an injury crisis because Tierney's out, Partey's out, and there's no confidence in the team. If our team was fully fit and everything was perfect scenarios, I honestly do believe we're going to get top 4, but not everything's going to be perfect. You're going to face problems, so it's not an excuse. We should still be able to get it even without those. But I don't think we could do it at this point, and it's very much worrisome. I'm confident that my players can get some results, but we need Tottenham to drop points and help us out. And until they do that, I'm not going to feel any more confident. I'm just going to say I'm hopeful, but at this point, it's tough. And when you're talking about the fan base, I could talk about them all day, but the uncomfortable conversation is people have unrealistic standards for the club, and they say, and then they blame me for lowering standards. I'm not lowering standards. I'm just saying, let's be realistic. I'm the one saying we can get top 4. The people who are calling me standards, saying you're lowering the standards, are saying, no, Tottenham have Antonio Conte, we're garbage. Like, where's the balance?
I think on the point of fan bases, and God, I hope there's no Spurs fans watching, but I think Spurs and Arsenal fan bases are a lot more similar than we care to admit, because there's the ones with the unrealistically high expectations, there's one with the unrealistically low expectations, but the worst part of the fan base, and they've gone quiet at Spurs, are the ones who, when things are going well, are saying, no, it won't last, we're going to lose this game, we're going to mess it up eventually, and then when it is messed up, they celebrate the fact that they were right, and all along there's so many of them out there, and they're the ones.
They look to say, "I told you so," innit? I told you so.
They're the ones with the loudest voice who'll be tweeting in their all caps and all that. They're the ones who want the team to fail so they can be right. And I mean, look, they'll deny that, but that's the loudest voice in the Arsenal fan base right now.
Why support a team and then make fun of everything that it does?
Yeah.
Are you supporting, or are you just critical 24/7? And then it's like, oh, I'm being realistic. What's realistic about saying he's a cone man and we should have sacked him 5 months ago or 10 months ago? That doesn't bring any nuance to the conversation. Anyways,
Gal, can I just ask, when Wenger was at Arsenal, were you Wenger in or Wenger out towards the latter years?
I thought he should have left respectfully, not get pushed out of the club and kicked in the ass.
But you look at it now in terms of Wenger. I mean, I know the league's improved. The league has improved a lot since Wenger left. Obviously Klopp, Pep have come in, but he's getting top 4 every season.
You still had.
But he's winning the FA Cup as well. He's winning. He's getting Champions League knockouts and winning the FA Cup. I mean, he wasn't doing that bad a job, was he? To be fair to him.
You want to know something? They hold that against Arteta also. They say because Wenger stayed so long. And we sacked Arteta for we sacked Wenger for this, we sacked Emery for this. Basically, everything we've done in the past, we should repeat it until we have success.
Yeah, but he's done better than Emery. Emery never got Arsenal in the Champions League, and he never won a trophy. So Arteta's done a much better job at Arsenal than Emery.
Let me ask you this: as people,
I like Emery,
as Leeds fans, West Ham fans, and a Tottenham fan, if Arsenal sack Arteta and we go into the summer having to rebuild the whole squad, are you more confident that we're going to mess it up if we sack our manager or if we keep him?
I'd be delighted if you sack Arteta.
Yes,
delighted. And it's like the point you made a while ago. It's who better is out there. Yeah. We've seen that in the last year in football with Tottenham, with Manchester United, even with Barcelona. I know it went well for them getting Xavi from Al Sadd, but there just aren't good managers out there right now. There aren't. If you're going to get a good manager, you're going to have to pry it away from a team. And the Arsenal job, like the United job, like the Tottenham job before Conte, will become a bit of a poison chalice if they keep getting managers in who are doing a decent job, considering the hand they've been dealt, and then sacked with the first sign of trouble. No one's going to want to go there. Arteta is the best option for Arsenal right now, and I'd celebrate wildly if he sacked him.
There you go. So we agree on something.
First time for everything.
Thank you very much, Igal. I know you'll have places to be.
I'll tell you guys this, man. If you speak to any Arsenal fans and that they say we're gonna get top 4 right now, they are very optimistic. It's no longer a confidence thing at Arsenal. And you know what? I told you Leeds weren't gonna get relegated, man. Don't worry. You're gonna be good. You're going to be good. West Ham, hopefully you guys win the Europa League. And then, but you know what? If you do win the Europa League, people are going to then make fun of Arsenal. So I don't know if I want you guys to win the Europa League.
Yeah, because we'll have a European trophy, won't we? That'd be nice.
and I'll just say Tottenham, it's so unfair how clinical they are. It's just so unfair.
Agreed.
Like you guys scored 4 goals. You know their XG was 0.8.
Yeah.
Son scored a hat trick with 0.5 XG. Anyways, yeah, I'll go. Joe, have a good day. Thank you
and
for
you,
having
brother. Thank you. Enjoy your evening.
Mate.
See you again.
Nice one. Thanks to Gal for jumping in. I did put his channel in the description. Make sure you go check him out. He does something similar to this on a Friday, I think. Also, while you're there as well, make sure you check out Oscar at All Leeds TV, Matt Hayes' Tottenham blog, and of course Corey's new channel as well. Please go. The 300 and odd people that are here. He's a regular. He's here week in, week out. He's not like these two. So make sure you subscribe to Corey's channel. Let's talk some West Ham, mate. I was going to jump to Man United but let's talk about West Ham. Obviously losing 2-0 to Brentford. What's going down, bro? How are you feeling about the Europa League? Obviously, Creswell getting a red card. Wasn't it? You know, it all kicked off.
My! Do you know what? Because I haven't been there since obviously the Europa. It is the worst refereeing display I've ever seen. I genuinely, TV, live, anything. I just don't remember ever seeing anything like it, to be honest. And I don't know how everyone else feels, but I genuinely don't believe it was a red card. You know, I've looked at it about 100 times and I just feel that it is ridiculously harsh. And the worst thing about that decision was the referee had no hesitation whatsoever. I didn't want to consult with the linesman, didn't want to consult with VAR. Very, very happy to give it. Missed the foul in the lead up on Jarrod Bowen. That the whole game, and Leon were obviously trying to buy fouls and he was stopping the tempo, so he couldn't ever really get into it. And listen, I think games like that, West Ham really need to feel their way into who we're playing. And we did exactly the same against Sevilla. And we just never really, once Creswell got sent off, it just became a back to the wall job. And we did really well. We did really well to keep it tight. I nearly had a heart attack when Jarrod Bowen scored right in front of me. I thought, I can't believe we're going to do this. But yeah, we're still in the tie on that front. The Brentford one's hugely disappointing, I think. And I think they brought up a stat saying we've lost 5 games, won 3 and drawn 1 after playing in Europe. And I think this season we've seen West Ham really struggle on that third game, I've said to you, and it's always the same pattern. It's the first game that we play, if you remember, against Leeds in the FA Cup, in a lower gear, trying to control the game. The middle game in the week, there's intensity, and by the third game, you just absolutely shot. And I've got to give credit to Brentford.
Who do you put that down to, bro, though? Is David Moyes also a little bit culpable because he refuses to rotate, or he just doesn't have the players at his disposal?
I hear on the side of he doesn't have the players, and I think Moyes has to take some responsibility for that. I personally believe a lot of it's on the board and the lack of investment or the willingness to invest. At the same time, you look at Antonio and how up and down he's been in terms of form. I think he had the opportunity to bring a player on loan. I don't believe that the narrative that there was no one available for West Ham to sign when you're competing in top 4 in Europe. So I think he's got to take a little bit of the blame on that. It's just our squad. It really is. He looks at the bench. He's unwilling to bring on Krau in midfield and rotate. He will stick with Souček and Declan Rice. There's just not enough quality there.
What's going on with Vlasic as well, bro?
It's tough. It's tough. I've got high hopes for him even now, but it's not. It takes a while with David Moyes in particular to get these players in and for those players really to perform. He had exactly the same with Ben Rama last season, where he was playing fleetingly 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and obviously his output's improved this season. But I think a lot of West Ham fans, I'm quite patient with it, to be honest. A lot of West Ham fans look at it and they say, that's £30 million spent on a player that could have been spent on a striker. And I do really, really get that. I just think I look at him as a player and I think he will be a good buy. But there's no doubt. There's no doubt that we're now... It's the amount of mileage in the legs across a season. It's not just you have a 2-week break and then you're okay. It's Antonio's not stopped playing, and he can't. The geezer can't do it. Now on Sunday,
if it was a racehorse, they'd have put him down, wouldn't they? Do you know what I mean?
But you know what's sad about him is he played a lot better against Everton, a lot better against Sevilla, to the point where I thought that 2 weeks has done him a world of good. And first half against Brentford, he was okay. I think Brentford frustrated us. The 20-minute spell, the 15-minute spell was absolutely horrendous. He's going around misplacing tackles. It actively looked like he had the ump and just wanted to get sent off. He gave away the ball for their second goal. and it's infuriating. I've never seen a player like it. I've never seen a player like that drop from there to there when he's tired, and he does it all the time. But at the end of the day, if you don't bring in anyone to compete with him and bring in, how much of his fault is it really? You know what I mean? Yeah. And your options Bowen up front, which is, don't get me wrong, he scores goals, but not from a false line position. It's a little bit difficult. So yeah, it was just tired. And do you know what the worst thing was? They were all basic errors, as well as Brentford did. They were really stupid errors, and there were 3 errors in each goal. And fatigue doesn't account for that. That's just concentration levels and positioning. Zuma gone off, Diop's come on, completely missed Ivan Toney behind him. The list goes on.
How is Zuma, bro? Will he be all right for Leon? Or
I don't think so. I've heard Norgard's gone in on the tackle and he's clipped him on his ankle, and it's kind of followed through. Maybe he has an injection and he just gets through it, but that's worrying in itself.
We'll play at centre back if it's not Dawson and Diop.
Diop, mate. It does. Honestly, do you know what the worst thing is about that?
Do
you know what? Craig Dawson has been fantastic, by the way. Like, genuinely, he's shocked me how good he's been.
I bet he can't believe he's played in Europe. Dawson,
neither can I, mate. He was man of the match the other day. But Diop, I don't know if you saw the Ivan Toney goal, but I mean, it's one thing going, he's over there and he's just lost control. He doesn't even know he's there. He doesn't know Ivan Toney's in the box behind him. You can't, like Oscar said, Dembele, the amount of attacking players I have, Ndombele will turn up as well. It's just, you just cannot switch off. So, yeah, backs against the wall. But
if you win, though, and Barcelona win, Craig Dawson will be playing in the European semi-final in the Camp Nou.
Yeah, it'll blow my mind, mate. I don't even know what I'll do, to be honest. I really don't know what I'll do.
At that point, Annie. You might as well retire at that point, Dawson, and say, I've had a good run, man.
Look, if there's a pen and Mark Noble's on the pitch at the Nou Camp, it's written in the stars, mate. It's written in the stars. But we've got to get through Leon. And without Zuma, it's tough. And I think, if anything, just give everything on Thursday, really. I know Burnley's, again, another must-win game, but a chance to get to a semi-final against Barcelona, that's never come around before. It might not ever come around again. So
no, exactly. You've got to take them moments, haven't you? For sure. Exactly. Yeah, but then you've got, like, Leeds fans will be thinking, like, play a weekend side in Europe so you're strong for Burnley. Do you know what I mean?
I've loved that. I've loved that this season, though. I know it's bitten us on the backside a couple of times, but we've taken these cup competitions seriously, and it gives you something to hold. Like, we've been good in the league, don't get me wrong, but just to be in Europe and to actually go in with a mindset that we're going to try and win it is a completely different mentality. And you bear in mind, I've supported West Ham God knows how long now. It's been years where we've just thrown it every single time in the third round. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm glad you're enjoying it, mate. Enjoy it while it lasts, because next stop, League One football, innit, Oscar? That's how it normally goes, innit? That's how it's supposed to go. European semi-finals, then League One, you know what I mean? Watch out.
Not in the Champions League, though, so maybe we'll be all right.
You might go to League Two instead.
Yeah. Oh, God. Mad. Right.
Everton versus West Ham in League Two, if you listened to Mike last week.
Let's finish. I'm aware we've been on absolutely ages. Sorry, lads. I know you are all tired and that, but we have to finish, of course, with the Man City Liverpool game. There's loads more we could cram in, but I am conscious of time and I'm tired myself. But who wants to lead it? I put in the title advantage City. I know it's only a point, but do you think? The little part of me felt that Liverpool had to win. I know there's still a long way to go and it was an amazing spectacle and stuff, but yeah, I wanted them to win to spice it up a bit. It's sort of as you were. I know it was an amazing game, but Oscar, thoughts?
City can still drop points. There's still opportunities there. You still look at that front line and think they had too many chances. Well, they had too many chances that they didn't take in that game. I know Sterling had that one, which I thought was a bit of a harsh offside, to be honest with you. I thought that was going to get given, to be totally honest with you. I thought it was a very tight one. I can see why it wasn't given. But yeah, I think City were pretty dominant for the certainly first half of the game, and probably the last 15 minutes when Mahrez came on. And I think they should have probably started Mahrez, to be honest, because I think the amount of chances he had and created.
What was he doing when he lifted it up?
It took a touch though, didn't it? I thought it was a bad miss, but it looked like Matip got a touch at the last minute. Or the one that went spooned over the bar.
Should he not have passed it to Foden?
I think, I've got to say, Alisson did well on that. Yeah. I was thinking, what is Alisson doing? But he panicked Mahrez. If he just stayed in his line, I think Mahrez just smashing that into the corner. He's taking that chance for me. He gets on his left foot.
What about Edison as well off the line, man? Mild one.
Yeah, I mean, the composure is just crazy. Just didn't look harsh, did he? You know, he's getting literally Jota's that. He's that from literally. It's mad. But you look at his facial expression. Mad. He looks like he's at a barbecue. He's just totally chills. You're thinking, this could be the bit that. But he trips over. He trips over. And he just passes it away rather than smashing it away. And I'm thinking, how are you that chilled out kind of thing? But yeah, I think City probably a bit of a missed opportunity. I think they could have done the title yesterday. I think they'll really feel that. I think that Mahrez miss, the Sterling miss early doors probably gets looked back on pretty badly if they don't go on to win the title. But I still think it's pretty open. I don't think either team's going to do the treble though. I don't think that, because I think I look at it, I think for Liverpool to do the treble, it means they've got to beat City 3 times, kind of thing. You got to beat them to the title, beat them in the cup, beat them in the Champions League. I think both teams are just too good and too close together for them to do that over each other. So I think one will win the Champions League, one will win the league for me, or FA Cup or whatever. I don't see a quadruple. I just think both teams are too good to allow the other team to win everything, if that makes sense. I think when you look at that Liverpool firepower, I mean, it was literally, they were a bit like that against Arsenal, where they were on the back foot, but Mane produces a moment in the second half, which gets him straight back into it. Jota obviously takes his one chance. I mean, Jota's performance, I tell you what, Jota was pretty poor on yesterday, but he stepped up when he needed to. And that's what Liverpool players have got. They've got that little bit more cutting edge, I think, than City. But when you look at KDB's performance, by the way, that's probably his best performance in the City shirt, or certainly in a big game. We did it against Atletico as well. So yeah, there's a lot of different things this season to look at. But the Diaz injury might hurt City a bit more than you think as well. I think Laporte and Stones both had really good games yesterday, but they've got to play every game now if Diaz is out for the season. And that might tell, as Corey was saying before, with Antonio, both players won't be used to playing this much football, Stones and Laporte. They're being kind of players that come in and out alongside of Diaz, if that makes sense. They don't really play week in, week out, and that's what they've had to do. So it could tell. There's a lot of different things that could happen. I mean, City can go to Atletico Madrid and get knocked out. We've got to remember that, and that could change everything for the title.
Who's your pick right now?
City, but just honestly, it's going to be close. But I'll go City. I just think the way they played yesterday was pretty special, to be honest.
It was, for sure. Corey, thoughts, but also I want to know what do you make to Mo Salah? He's not scored in a long time now, has he? Contract potentially weighing on him. He's obviously knocked out of the World Cup. He's not going to the World Cup. Loses in the African Cup of Nations final as well. So they don't even get on, do they, Mane and Salah? Yeah, I don't think, apparently. Do they?
They do. Quite a bit. I know they had that row. I know what you're thinking of, but there are things where I think Mane wouldn't let them celebrate the AFCON win because of Salah, and
I've not seen that. So. Okay. Ignore me, mate. I'm talking shite.
Be a bit gutted if they didn't get on after all these years and all those goals.
No, but that's what I believed, man. Is that not true?
Yeah. They've done pretty well if they hate each other.
No, but people do. Was it not Sheringham and Cole? Sheringham and Cole couldn't stand each other, and they won a treble, man. So
yeah.
Maybe Firmino's the glue just between both of them. Yeah. Helps them get on a little bit, and fair play. Plays his false line and does his thing. Yeah, I think with Salah, I think it is weighing on his mind a little bit. I do think things like that mentally, I wouldn't say fatigue you, but again, in terms of concentration on his game, it's hurting him a little bit. And I think probably less so the actual failures in terms of the AFCON, but with the contract and not knowing where your long-term future is going to be. And I don't know whether in terms of negotiations where you're Salah and you are one of the best, if not the best player in the Premier League at the minute. And you're looking at it thinking, just pay the money or meet me at a point where I can stay where I'm happy. And Liverpool going, I don't know. And I don't know if it weighs on their mind to think, do they actually rate me as highly as they do, and Diaz comes in, and do they feel that they can move on without me? So I think there are little things like that, but listen, he's a phenomenal player. He really is. And if I'm Liverpool, I'm doing everything I can to keep him on the title race. I think it's City's still. I think they'll nick it. I just think their consistency in these title races when they're in it, aside from the season where Liverpool won it, they just their mentality just to keep going and churn out results. And I think the biggest thing as well for them just to control games. I think the way that they control games and the tempo is a big thing towards the end of the season. So I think they'll do it, and I can see Liverpool possibly winning the Champions League. I don't know. It looks like that to me. But to have both of those teams at that level in this league, it's crazy, mate. Like, it
shows how far everyone is away, right? Like, even like the Chelsea, and then your Spurs, Arsenal, Man United are even further away from it.
Well, look, when we beat Liverpool and we beat City in a cup, like those were massive moments, but they are so far and above every team. Tottenham obviously beat the City and they had a fantastic game, but when you see them both come, I think both teams, when they play other teams, they might be guilty of maybe their level drops a little bit, maybe they feel but when they both play each other, their level goes there, and I think that comes from the coaches. And Klopp and Guardiola don't take a back step. They're tactically, they're fascinating when they play each other.
Monsters. Yeah, it was a good game, wasn't it? It was a good
game. Handshake as well at the end. That was like it was bizarre, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Can I just? That was a little bit weird, to be fair.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just expression as he's doing it. It's just oh man.
Can I just take a minute to get some sympathy here, because I couldn't watch the game because I was stuck at work watching Tromsø and HamKam in the Norwegian Eliteserien, and that's how my Sunday went.
Oh mate, you get paid the big bucks for being a stato, bro. You get paid the big bucks for being a stato.
Is it worth it though?
You get to rub shoulders with people like Fabrizio Romano, mate, so it's all right,
Yeah, that's not bad, I won't lie.
Yeah. So you've not seen the game back?
I watched the highlights today.
Okay.
But look, what I would say
to you then, here's the question for you. What would it be like, man, if Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa beat Man City and Liverpool won the title on the final day? Imagine.
I feel like it's written in the stars. Just that whole slip has been for a Netflix documentary where Gerrard, he slips and he goes off and he gets his coaching badges just so he can come and win the league for Liverpool, but he doesn't get the job because Klopp is just too good and he has to find this weird back route to get there, and then he wins with Villa. But no, they're not going to do it. City are going to win the league. Look, I think that game yesterday for City, it was a must not lose. For Liverpool, it was a must win. So, I mean, if you're looking at it that way, it's advantage Man City, and it just has the same feeling as it did a couple of years ago when they're neck and neck, 1 point to separate, and they're both just going to win every game, and it's going to be fascinating because Liverpool are what's happening. I
don't think they'll win every game. I think Gary Neville was saying it. Yes, I think City then had Sane, Aguero, and Sterling probably on top form in that sense, and they just blew teams away with that, and David Silva as well. I still think City are as good now, but I think in a different way. I think they control games more, but they haven't got that cutting edge. And Liverpool, I just look at Liverpool defensively.
Do you know what though? Liverpool have only got, I think, Man United, which they'll batter, and they've got Everton in the derby, which they'll batter.
They've got us as well.
Other than that, they'll turn teams over.
They
got Tottenham. Liverpool have got Spurs.
They'll batter us.
That's a nasty one, though, Tottenham.
Yeah.
The other thing is they're the two teams that we have the best record against this season. We beat City twice and we drew to Liverpool at home. Look, I think Liverpool obviously have more to play for than us. Them fighting for a league is obviously much more important than us fighting for top four. I think it can be a close game and we may give them trouble on the counter, but I feel that's for me the only game I'm looking at this season where I see us dropping points.
They're the ones where people like Conte and stuff, even if they've not got a dog in the fight, they're like, we have an opportunity to stop them winning the title, and it's them managers that can, that would please Conte nothing more. Do you know what I mean? Just to stop
it's like Jose,
the title.
Jose the
day,
exactly.
You can just see it though. That game. Trent Alexander-Arnold pushing up. The ball gets turned over. Son gets in behind Alexander-Arnold. And it's 1-0 kind of thing. You can see that kind of thing happening.
That's exactly how we got them when we played them at our stadium. Except it was Dele Alli who
You
played.
don't want to play a Conte. As you say,
we
Joe,
talk
you don't
about
want to
Dele
play a
Alli, by the
Conte
way.
team.
Happily.
Has he even started a game yet, Matt?
Can I just say, Dele Alli, I know you're watching. I'd like to wish you the happiest of birthdays, and I thank you again for the wonderful memories you gave me at my beloved football club. I love you.
God, I think he's played about 6 minutes, hasn't he? Funny.
I don't want to pay the money. That's
Van
the
de
problem.
Beek is the same.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that's it. I genuinely think they're worried about going down and don't want to play Dele Alli, because if they end up paying 20 million and then getting relegated, they're in big trouble. So, I mean, it makes sense.
Nothing to do with him being rubbish, no?
How dare you?
They've already flitted away like 390 billion or whatever, so I don't think they're that bothered about Dele Alli. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe that's fair.
Do you know what's mad? Our last home game of the season, Mark Noble's last home game of the season against Man City. So, and they're looking at the fixture, and I'm thinking, if that's one game West Ham are going to get up for, and think, irrespective of where we're at, it has to be that game. And I think that obviously Villa for the moment and for the man, but
Coutinho to get it as well.
Can you imagine? I was actually watching a replay of Coutinho's goal against City when they.
You really think Steven Gerrard will play Coutinho in that game? You'll bring Anwar El Ghazi back from Everton and put him in there. He's not going to put a full team out. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it.
He's going to give him a couple of nightmares.
Gerrard.
What do you mean?
I don't think he takes that game. I don't think he takes that game seriously at all. I think that's very suspect.
Okay.
Agent Tyrone Mings and all this one. Agent Tyrone Mings, a cheeky own goal and all this lot. Suspect game, that.
We will see. We shall see.
Imagine for Gerrard's legacy. His legacy is like halved in 90 minutes if Aston Villa beat Liverpool there.
I really want to see that. I want to see that so bad. If he burning his jerseys outside the ground for a second time. That'll be beautiful.
We shall see. But look, Jamie makes a good point. How's about Leeds beat City? I can't see it, but we were talking about that earlier, weren't we? I think Pep played RB Leipzig and it was like 6-3. And I was listening to something earlier and they were giving Leeds a chance in the fight, but I just can't see it. But we'll wait and see anyway. But listen, we'll be safe. We'll be on the beach by then. And we'll be looking at churning out squads and saying, right, who's leaving, who's coming in, etc., etc. It'll be exciting times. We'll bring in one player. Do you know what I mean? And it'll be another Thurpo West signing. Hopefully not, but yeah. I think we've spoken enough now, lads. Anything else anyone want to add anything? No?
I think we should all say happy birthday to Dele Alli, to be honest. But...
Yeah. Happy birthday, Dele Alli. I hope you enjoy your time back at MK Dons or wherever you rock up next season, you know what I mean? Because you certainly won't be playing Premier League football, mate, but, you had a good run. Where does he go? He's not going to go anywhere, though, is he, Matt?
We'll take him back.
Yeah?
No.
He'll go abroad, I think.
Yeah. I think he can end up in France or something, and then he'll play well there because the standard is worse.
I'd say France or Italy, where the game's a bit slower. I think he fits in pretty well there, to be honest. And he'd be a good. It's one of them, isn't it? You've seen a lot of players, get to sort of Dele Alli's age, go abroad and kind of reboot their career a little bit. Tammy Abraham, to a certain extent, I know he's a bit younger than Dele Alli. To be fair, at Rome, has done really well. Maybe that might be a decent little move, something like that. But I still think there'll be some clubs interested in Dele Alli, I think. I'm not sure how much you'd be willing to pay, though, to be honest. But I don't know.
Everton essentially got him for free. They're not going to be paying any money. He has to play 20 games before they pay something. I see Dylan there in the live chat saying Howard, or saying Howard, it's almost his surname, saying China, they've got a wage cap now. It's like 49, the equivalent to £49,000, so he won't be going there. He can't even get a payday.
Do you know what, as well, when we were talking about City, Villa and Steven Gerrard, yeah? And I went right quiet. You threw me, Oscar, because I was like, have I got it wrong? But I hadn't got it wrong. Villa play City the last game of the season.
Oh, sorry, right, okay.
When you started talking about he's not going to play these, he'll throw that game, I'm like thinking in my head.
Sorry, but they have got to play Liverpool, haven't they?
And I started to question myself. I was like,
they have got to play Liverpool, haven't they? They are playing, yeah.
Villa play
It's like 2 weeks before, though, they play Liverpool.
Yeah. 10.
They're throwing that game, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
It's all right, I had to check myself because genuinely I was sat in it, went quiet, and I was thinking, oh no, I've got it wrong. But I had to look, yeah.
Gotta back yourself, Joe.
Apologies.
Yeah,
well,
no,
Coutinho will not play that game.
It won't be much of a story because I agree with you. Gerrard would have just gone, right, we'll play like El Ghazi, we'll get Agbon Lahore back from TalkSport and he can play, they can all have a go.
Gabby.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll leave it there. Thank you as always, and we can say happy birthday to Pablo Hernandez, El Majo. Happy birthday. Yeah, make sure you check out Corey on his channel, Matt on his channel, and Oscar on All Leeds TV. We don't have a game now for 16 days, so I don't know what I'll do in the meantime. I probably will do some watch-alongs of the Everton game. I think they play Leicester. And Burnley have got a few before we come back as well, of course, to play West Ham at the weekend. So I'll probably be doing something for that, to be honest. Just because I want to see what's going on with our relegation rivals. So yeah, we'll leave it there. Thanks as always for tuning in. Great numbers tonight. It's lovely to see. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a nice Easter.